Hello and welcome to Issues of the Moment. The transportation system in Nigeria has been seen as the means towards attainment of growth and development of the Nigerian economy. This is, however, not unconnected with the fact that transportation of goods and services has become vital to the economy due to the foreign exchange earning to the sector of the economy. And sadly, experts are of the opinion that despite several government policy frameworks aimed at repositioning the transport sector, its contribution to the gross domestic product remains unsatisfactory. Changing this narrative is key because the transport sector is a major driver to economic development and strong revenue. As studies reveal that developing societies have not sufficiently tapped into the potential of the transport sector. As a result, it is not fully maximized in those regions. Since experts posit that the sector can contribute about 10% to Nigeria's gross domestic product, GDP, if the right policies are in place, there is need to bring a change indeed. Development of the transportation economy in Nigeria is the basis for our discourse on issues of the moment. My name is Justin Bemunyi. Welcome to the program. And when we return, you will meet my guest. Thanks for staying with Issues of the Moment. Our focus is on the development of the transportation economy in Nigeria. And my guest is a transportation engineer by profession, politician, public affairs analyst, and the board chairman, Association of Rights and Welfare of Passengers in Nigeria, APAN. She is Tina Ohojeghuo. Engineer Ohojeghuo, you're welcome to Issues of the Moment.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Let's start on a very light mode. The transportation engineering happens to be a very rare area, especially for women to venture in. And you are in there. What really informed your decision to venture into this area of engineering? And more so, you're a successful woman in that area. So what really led you into it?
Well, I'm an engineer by profession. I'm a computer science student. I venture into the marine sector in engineering, where I obtained my certificate as a marine engineering assistant. Then I obtained another certificate as a third-class marine engineer in the marine sector. And I believe I'm the first female marine engineer in Nigeria, even Africa, because the lady in Kenya came up as a marine engineer in 2008, while I came up as a marine engineer in 1995. Okay. So I believe I should be the first female marine engineer in Africa. I hail from Delta State. I'm an Urobo by tribe. I'm a politician. I'm an outstanding engineer. Then in my master's, I did transportation, which is the umbrella that covers all branches of transportation in the world. Okay. Transportation engineering it has a factor that cover 5 branches of engineering. We have the highway engineering, we have the railroad engineering, we have the port and harbor engineering, we also have the airport engineering and the space engineering. In the highway engineering, that is where you see 75% of passengers, they are on the highway engineering. Then the railroad is as well as known by everybody that the passengers are patronizing the rail also. Then in the port and harbor engineering, We have the seagoing vessels, we have the tankers, we have the pipeline. We have the pipeline engineering. That is the airport.
Okay, we'll talk about these details. Now, we all know that transportation is pivotal to the success of any economy anywhere in the world. Now, how has the transportation business, how has it contributed to Nigeria's economic growth so far?
Transportation contributes to the economic growth of a country because there are factors in transportation economy. There are factors like the interest rate announcement, the gross domestic production, the consumer price index, the housing statistics, the jobless claim, and the government fiscal monetary policy. If you look into this carefully, then you can have an idea to stabilize the system of a country through economy.
Okay, now how do you see the current move of the government, where the government is trying to create an enabling environment for the transportation sector to improve in Nigeria? How do you see this move?
It proved the transport sector, and at the same time trying to boost the country economy by the production. Like as I told you, the gross domestic production have all it takes to work with transportation economy. And at the same time, if you look into the consuming price index, it has a lot of role to play in the transportation sector. Because all boiled down, the reality in them came to pass in the life of human beings in a country, whom are the passengers. So it will boost the economy through the help of the transportation if the currency is stabilized in the country. Because if the currency is not stabilized, especially what we have on ground, the 10 kobo, the 5 kobo, the 1 naira, they have already go out of the transaction, and the cost inflation in the transportation economy and also the country economy. So if the currency is managed by establishment of the naira, the little we have at hand now, which is the 5 naira and the 10 naira in transaction in Nigeria, then it will help to take away deflation that has started right from the time the 10 kobo and the 50 kobo, the 1 naira, go out of transaction.
Okay, let's make this simple here. Let's get to the basics. How does, for the benefit of our viewer out there, how do we relate? You're talking about currency. How does
Yes, of course.
Development of transportation, how does it relate with currency? What is the relationship?
It boils down to the gross domestic production. The farmers are ready to produce the product that can be sold for 10 naira. They are ready to produce the product that can be sold for 5 naira. They are ready to produce the product that can be sold for even 10 kobo. I know the time of the past. We have the product for 10 naira, like 10 naira pepper, 10 naira salt, 10 naira maggi, 10 naira sugar. They were existent. Even as far to the 10 kobo, they were selling maggi for 10 kobo, selling maggi, selling pepper for 10 kobo, selling sugar for 10 kobo. You know the life of the commoners. If you look to the statistics of the country today, 75% are the commoners. Then we have second class, which is the life of the average man who can afford a bottled water. Then we have the first class who imported their drinking water even in the country. Like those class of people, they have nothing to do with the 10 naira. They have nothing to do with the 5 naira. And you look at it, since the 10 kobo and the 50 kobo, the 1 naira go out of transaction, inflation has started in the life of everybody in the world, in Nigeria generally.
So what you are saying now is there is a link between transportation and the economy, and this affects mostly the lower class.
Very well.
Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, not only the lower class, even in the hearts of the rich men. Because if you look in the family of people today, maybe 2 or 3 people are rich. Why 98% of the people are commoners? So it also affects the hearts of the rich people.
All right. Now, as we said earlier on, you did mention that the government has achieved or has made several strides in developing the transport sector. Do you think, or what do you think should be done? What is left to be done in this regard?
Very good. The government has tried so much. Even the president we have today is a man with impeccable record. He's a man of idea. He's a citadel of brain. You see, when you look at the life of people, you will start calculating on how to develop a country through the help of the president you have and the speeches of the president of a country. You can see that he has stabilized the fuel price in Nigeria. And in every corner of the country, there is fuel. So that reduces the pains of everybody in Nigeria when it comes to the terms of transportation economy. This is how it comes. Now, the transportation cost has been reduced by the availability of fuel in Nigeria. It has reduced by the availability of this GSM in Nigeria. You know before, if you are buying fuel from the gallon, if a driver buy a fuel from the gallon, 20 liters at the rate of 4,000 naira, the transportation price will be what? It will increase. And then we hide it, and the cost inflation in the country. Because everybody will be crying. How can I use the money I want to use to purchase goods, to transport my goods? Then when they come back home to the common market, you see that the price will high because of the fuel crisis in the country. But now that the fuel is available, that issue has been, that side of the country has been handled carefully with the president. So then the other part of it, you can see the economy of the country today. People are crying, joblessness and all that. That is why I told you that there are factors in transportation economy that could help to boost Nigeria economy financially. Okay, now, like what I told you, if you look into the general way of the country today, the majority of people, even including the president, is a passenger in Nigeria. So when you want to boost economy, you pass through the transportation, the passenger side, because is something that is general in a country. Then what am I trying to say is this: if Nigeria can stick to the right of passengers in Nigeria, then it will help to boost the economy, because the passenger has a lot of contribution to make to the growth of economy. For instance, if you say that the right of passenger should be 10 naira, every passenger, in order for them to have a right in Nigeria, they should be paying additional of 10 naira to anything, to transportation in Nigeria. Let's assume those who are passing through the aircraft, if you are paying 36,000, Nigeria will say, pay 36,000, 10 naira, because the returning of the currency will balance the economy of the country. But if the currency is not retained, then the economy of the country will shake forever, and inflation will continue to strive in the system of the country forever. let's go look at this way. If a passenger is paying that 10 naira on top of the transportation, it will help to retain that denomination in the country forever. Okay. And the gross domestic producer, the production system, will now produce things of the 10 naira or the 5 naira in a country. And that will help to take away inflation totally from the country. Because you don't expect a mother that have 2 children to start living by 20 naira upfront.
Okay, you are emphasizing on the need for government to look more into the welfare and the rights of passengers, those that are using this transportation in Nigeria for economic growth.
Yes.
That is what you are emphasizing
yes.
now. Now, that is one side of it, which is the welfare and the rights of these passengers. What about the infrastructure? Are you comfortable with the level of development the government has put in place now? Are you comfortable with that?
Yes, I'm comfortable to a certain standard, to a limit, because they have not go into detail in transportation. If they go the details in transportation, you will see that transportation can be handled by a third party privacy in Nigeria, which is the right, which is the passengers, the right of the passengers and the welfare of passengers in Nigeria. If they are properly cared for, you will see that their contribution will help to grow the economy of the country.
Okay, we'll talk more on that. Let's take a quick short break now. You're watching Issues of the Moment, and our focus is on the development of the transportation economy in Nigeria. We will be back after this short break. Please stay with us. Now, let's look at this from the angle of your profession as an engineer, a transportation engineer. And you're talking about infrastructure, the lapses in infrastructure in the transport sector. Now, let's narrow it down to the road transportation and the rail transportation, these 2 areas. Can you throw more light on what we need or where we need to be that we've not been there?
Very good. The rail, the highway transportation and the railroad transportation, like as I told you, it's not only government that done everything in transportation. Like as I told you, that transportation can also be handled by a third party privacy in the country, which is the passengers in Nigeria, including the president. Okay, let's assume if we agree that all passengers should pay 10 naira in Nigeria, we don't need the green, we don't need the sky blue, we don't need the silver. All we need is the red. Is the red either the 25 naira or the 10 naira. Let's assume that 60 million persons are paying it in the country. A day is going to give us 600 million naira in the country. Then times 24 working days is going to give us over 14.4 billion naira in the country. And with this, because I told you about unemployment claim as a part of the factor of transportation economy, it will help to create employment up to 135,000 persons in Nigeria that will receive 75,000 naira monthly. And we will still have about 4.something billion in the account contributed by the passengers to create infrastructure like Yaya today. As a transportation engineer, if you say that I should design the road of Yaya and how do they call it? Nasarawa State. There are some flyover that could be designed there with what the passengers are contributing at the moment. At that is with what we realize from the passenger contribution. We can use it to design the Yaya road We can do flyover with what we save monthly. Between a year, we can design that road to avoid traffic in that Yaya versus, that is Yaya Nasrawa Road. We can use the remnants which we have used to pay workers, let's say for a period of 8 months. We can use it to create infrastructure in Nigeria and also reduce traffic and reduce cost of transport, reduce potholes, reduce accident in Nigeria.
Okay, talking about your proposal now, it's said the business of infrastructure is the government's business, because already these passengers you're talking about, these citizens you're talking about, a greater number of them pay taxes, and these taxes is what is being channeled into this infrastructure development. Now, from your proposal about contributions, maybe no matter how small it is, don't you think this will be perceived as an additional burden to passengers, and it will be perceived as these extra charges you're talking about? Is that not going to be perceived as an extra burden rather than the welfare you're talking about?
Now, it's going to help the economy of the country. It's going to help the life of individual, because so doing we retain that 10 naira and the 5 naira in the transaction of Nigeria forever. And it will create, you know, when we talk about the gross domestic production, it will enable people to produce product of 10 naira to stabilize the economy system. So it's not going to cause an effect to any of them that will help them grow in Nigeria. If you look at the life of average man today, it's like he's doing away with the 10 naira. An average man who can afford a bottle of water has nothing to do with 10 naira. Even some of the traders, they have nothing to do with 10 naira, because if you say you are selling something for 10 naira, no change to give out. Then they started inflating things to 20 naira. Things that are supposed to be sold for 10 naira, now sold for 20 naira. So it's to their own benefit, it's to Nigeria benefit, to the benefit of the president. Because the president himself is a passenger. You understand? So it will help. That means if the president is a passenger, definitely the government is passenger. Government itself is a passenger. So it will help to retain the economy and to stabilize the system of product in Nigeria. You will see that, the people who produce, they are ready to produce things of even as far to 10 kobo. If not for the cost of production of the currency, the coins is higher than the volume. They are ready to produce it. And once those production is being made in the country, you will see that this whaling will stop. The whaling will stop, because if I take 100 naira to the market, I should be able to buy all I want with the 100 naira.
Okay, just before I let you go, as a board chairman of APAN and apparently a stakeholder in the transportation business, how do you want to see a change in the transportation economy? How would you want this change to be in this transportation economy? How do you want it to go forward?
It will go forward if we provide a welfare for passengers. Transportation in a country, the reality, it comes to reality in the life of the people, in the life of the passengers. Not wood, not block, but humans. So we should stand for the welfare of passengers in Nigeria. And at the same time, we should take note of their movement in the country to make sure that people gotten missing in Nigeria will be eradicated. Could you believe that with what we are saying today, we can also reduce the cost of transportation by designing the Lokoja port? Did you know that the Lokoja port is connected to Onitsha port? That can be designed. We can carry the bitumen survey and know the shallow places and indicate our boy on the river to convey a cargo. Definitely from the north to Lokoja is already a solid ground. It's from Okene down you have spoiled road. So if we can transit cargo from the north to Lokoja, from there we convert there with a ferry cargo boat to Onitsha, it will help to reduce. And APAN can do all this. If you ask me, how do we manage the 10 naira? I will tell you this. It should be an open account that the AFCC can see, the DSS will see, the SS will see. At the end of the day, I'm just assuming that people, about 60 million can pay in Nigeria daily. But I believe you, it can be more than that, that a month we could realize up to 20 billion. So the DSS should be seeing it. The federal government should be seeing it. After paying workers, we will still have enough to design our transportation system in Nigeria, to beautify cities. It's not only government. If you look at the country today, people are paying big taxes, but we are still backward. So why not retain the 10 naira, the common currency that could create a lot of growth in Nigeria economy, into practices so that Nigeria can become a standard. Believe me, the world will come to Nigeria to buy the idea because it's the first of its kind. Then I thank Mr. President who discussed about idea, who is a man with impeccable record, a man, a citadel of brain. May the Almighty God keep him alive.
Well, Engineer Tina Ohojeghuo, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts and your time with us on the program Issues of the Moment. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you too. It's my pleasure, it's my honor.
Well, that is it on the program Issues of the Moment today, and our focus has been on the development of the transportation economy in Nigeria. My guest, Engineer Tina Ohojeghuo, is a transportation engineer by profession, politician, public affairs analyst, and the board chairman, Association of Rights and Welfare of Passengers in Nigeria, APAN. Thank you very much for your time. My name is Justin Bemunyi.